Hey everybody, this is Grant and welcome to another session on financial investing secrets. Okay, so I wanted to do a quick market recap. What I've got here is my 1 minute chart. This is on May 18th, so the market's closed. Closed about, maybe an hour ago or so. All right, so I wanted to discuss just a few things. Let's maybe set some context. So to do that, first I'm going to bring down my 5 minute chart here. Let's just take a look at yesterday and how that affects today, and then we'll do the same looking or thinking about tomorrow. So I'm on the Thinkorswim platform, not that that matters, so they've got a great charting platform. It doesn't really matter from my perspective what we're going to use for the charting itself. All right, here we go. Okay. So if you look over here on the far right here, yesterday, massive sell-off. And it broke a key support line. So it came down here, broke right through it, and then, as you would imagine, today it came right up and it touched that support line. Came up and touched it. It hit the yellow moving average. This is the 34 EMA. It pierced that and then turned right back around and settled within the value range from yesterday. All right, so that was a big thing. It pushed all the way outside the Bollinger Band here at one point and came up. All right, so I've got my charts here. If you think about what's on here, the 200 moving average is the white, the orange is the 89 EMA, then I've got the 34 EMA is the yellow, the 21 EMA is the magenta, and the green. The green's your money line. The green is 8 EMA. All right, so those that's the daily view. Came across here over the last few weeks, hit the top, formed a top, and yesterday massive sell-off. Today tried to pierce further up, got about halfway into yesterday's range, and then pulled back. Overall, it was an up day. Not massively, but it recovered some of the loss, but it definitely pulled way down yesterday. All right, so let's take back a look here. Let me change this. All right, so coming back to the 5 minute. So what does that mean for today? So the 5 minute chart here today. So as you can see, I've got this green indicator on here. I'm not a fan of a lot of indicators. I do have a few lines on here. Like I said, the Bollinger Band, as well as some moving averages. Try to keep the charts as clean as possible. I need a little bit of frame of reference, and maybe you do too. But I have found that one other indicator is extremely helpful, and it's actually one that I created. I call it the market engine. Market engine for high probability moves. Now, what you'll notice is it's tracking the ticks that are sold. It's not the tick itself. It's a summarization of the tick, and it tracks the amount of buying and selling pressure on the stocks on the exchange where the ES is traded, the ES minis or the E minis. All right. So the thing to think about here is when the green line is below the zero line, then that gives us some indication as to the direction of potential trades. And when it's above, then that means opportunity for trades to the upside. All right. It means other things as well. We'll go over that at another time. But at the very least, it gives us an indication of how hard the engine is working relative to how well price is moving or responding to that. And there will be times that will give you a clue or a sense of any kind of divergence of movement. So for example, it came right across here. You notice that the market was pushing up here, price pushed up, and the market was pushing really hard to get right up here, and it continued to push hard. Look how ineffective it was. A lot of stocks are still pushing up, but overall pricing was dropping. That starts to tell us about divergence. Pushes up again, but not as many stocks on the exchange are pushing as high, so we get this divergence, which starts to give us an opportunity for setup. which is, there's a higher probability that this will in fact go the other way, and in this case it did. Pulled all the way across to the other side of the Bollinger, hovered for a little bit, and then took a much lower position here. All right, so not quite an inside day, right? There is still some trending today, but let's get this out of the way here. All right. Okay, so what does this translate onto here on the 1 minute chart? So on the 1 minute chart, I use a few things here. First of all, I have one of the aspects of the market engine. Now, you'll hear me talk about market speed and market engine, and the speed translates to the rate at which price is moving, and the engine translates partially. Let me see how I describe it this way. Okay, just like the engine in your car, right? There are multiple things that comprise the engine. This is just one aspect of the engine. Now, I'd love for you to contact and chat with me. I'll be happy to share with you more about the things that are involved in the engine. But one aspect of the engine is the rate at which the stocks are being purchased and sold on upticks or downticks on the market. Now, this isn't directly the tick itself, but it's a smoothing out of that. All right. And you can start to, again, see divergence points on it. You can see how effective it is. In other words, you see right here, it's moving up. Oh, and here it's not as much, and so you start to see a pullback, not a big one, and then this explosion to the top side. All right, so we'll talk through more over time about how to read this and how to use it. But know this, that an engine's got multiple pieces in it. It has the cylinders, so the pistons, the carburetors, the air filters, and so forth. Well, I'm just showing you one aspect of the engine. There are other elements to help us know when the market is shifting gears. Here's the key. The key is to understand the relationship between the change in price and how hard the engine is working or not working. Is price being more effective moving to the upside when the engine pushes, or is it being more effective when going to the downside when the engine pushes down? Now that's the critical thing, and you want to understand is when is the engine shifting gears. So there's lots of things to talk about in terms of how the market reacts, and some things that we can use that give us accurate, up-to-date information, not lagging, but as the engine goes and as the price goes, immediately knowing what the impact is. I'll give you a classic divergence here, pushing and then lower again. Okay, all right, certainly gives us an opportunity for it to come the other direction, which it does in this case. But there are some other things that are needed to know how well the engine is being effective. All right, so enough on that. So the market pushes, gets up. We get our high of the morning here at about 7:30 Pacific time, which is 10:30 Eastern, 10:35 Eastern. And the low of the day was right near the open. Afterwards, then our ultimate high of the day was 11:33 or so, 11:30, which ends up being about 2:30 East Coast time. All right, so I wanted to start introducing you to these things. There are several charts that are needed in order for this to work. I'll start doing more showing of my trading as I do it live. And if you have questions or want to reach out to me, certainly post. And feel free to ask questions on the page. Look forward to interacting with you some more. Thanks for joining, and trade safe.